which becomes a star or a solar system. In each egg of space, and millions of solar system forming, then we will come to understand that we are having another dimension in us, which is called the will. Previously, we think that will is only our obstinacy. If you suggest something and if I resist, if I do not listen to what you say, I may deceive myself thinking that I have a strong will. That is obstinacy and not will. Many times we misunderstand obstinacy as will. So, when a person is too obstinate, we say that he is strong-willed. That is stupid. A person who is awakened in the real will is never obstinate with anyone, because there is nothing that he cannot understand. He responds in a kind and benevolent way to everyone, because he knows his next awakening. He knows more about his responsibilities than his privileges. Whereas the man whose will is not awakened, who lives in the mind, he has only the force and mind doing some war. That is, making the mind dirty and muddy with the particles of matter. That is what we call the astral activity, the activity of the impure astral body, that is the body of forces made impure. Then the fellow remembers only his privileges and not responsibilities. If you make me a minister of a state, responsibilities. If you make me a minister of a state, he never deviates from what he has to do, but he never hurts anyone. If others are insulted, if others feel insulted of his actions, he is not responsible. Even then he is not agitated. Man of will is essentially sweet in his living, sweet in his feeling, and in his experiencing the presence of others. And he has another dimension which the other people are not having. It is called the dimension of creation. Will is creative, whereas mind has only struggle and no creation. Creative faculty is that which enables you to make changes. Before the dawn of the creative faculty or will, if there is something inconvenient or troublesome, the person knows that it is troublesome and inconvenient, but he spends the time complaining against himself and others, but experiencing all the inconvenience and pain. He never proposes to make any changes for the better. It may be in his personal habits or environment, or his relationships with his wife and children, or in the arrangement of the construction of the house, or his relationships in the office, or with the disharmony with his profession. When once he is awakened into the plane of will, he loses no time in making changes for the better, for himself and for others also. If something is wrong with himself, he loses no time in rectifying his behavior. If something is wrong from others to himself, he does not try to rectify others unless others are willing to get rectified by him. But he has the skill to be free from the ill effects of others. In the same office, he can work with 100 buffaloes, not complaining at all that they are buffaloes, because he knows they are also his fellows. A wife can live with a husband, a husband can live with a wife all through the life without experiencing any unhappiness or misery. irrespective of others' behavior. That is what you should understand when the person is awakened into the plane of will. Will is essentially creative. If one wants money for a good purpose, he can make enormous amounts of money when he is in willpower, his willpower, without affecting the purse of anyone, without going in for donations or contributions. He can make his work worth millions of dollars, and he can make money not for himself, but he can use the money for a better purpose. Because a man of will never believes that money is valuable, but he believes that the use of money is valuable. So, that is the next plane of consciousness. When one enters into the will, he finds needs. That is the need of food, need of drink, need of shelter, need of clothing, need of sex, and need of a sense of protection. Beyond these things, he never believes the value of anything. To the man of the mental level whose will is not awakened, he does not know what needs are. He will have desires and wants. Wants, I want to have this food. I want to have this house. That is want. When it is too narrow, it becomes a desire. But needs are different. Needs are genuine. A house is needed. A watch is needed to know the time and keep our work up to date. But if I say this particular watch is needed, if the watch goes wrong, until I purchase another watch, I stop doing work. That is what we call complex, psychological complex. My watch is with the watch mechanic for repair, so I can't work to. That is what is called want. If I say I want only such type of thing to write on the board, if you say there is blackboard and chalk piece, I say I don't want it, I want only this type. That is called a desire. That is false. What is required is something to write and something to write upon, so that we may have some facility in the lecture to make people understand. That is what is called needs. The man of will knows the needs, and he filters away all the other things, the desires and wants. If the food is tasty, it is good. But if the food is not tasty, if it is healthy, even then he eats. If it is unhealthy, even though it is tasty, he stops eating, but never complains against the cook and the person who cooks. So, what is the good of complaining against anyone? What is the good of finding fault with anyone? It creates more displeasure and more impediment. So, wherever there is obstacle, he grows passive and he tries to make the more active place the field of his activity. He can immediately change the place or time and make the best of his span of life and the hours of the day. So, when he finds that something is not possible at a place, he never finds faults with that place or person. He makes a passive withdrawal to make an active expansion somewhere else. So, he has no formed impressions or opinions. That is how the man of will begins to act. Sanskrit, will is called buddhi. It is called buddhic plane. when food is needed, it is only a need, and there is nothing like your need or my need in his point of view. Because need is impersonal, whereas desire is personal. About the watch, because I want to own the watch, it is not a need but a desire. But if there is one clock to the wall or one watch on the table, I can work even though my watch is not working. But if my will plane is not awakened, I stop when my watch stops. If you say that there is one watch here, I say I cannot work. That's the difference between the man of will and the man of mind. So the Buddhic plane is awakened. The next plane of consciousness is the nirvanic plane of consciousness, that is awaiting the humanity of the future. That is what is called the capability to know what happiness is, the qualification to experience happiness. And only those who have established in will can get the awakening of the nirvanic plane. It is a plane where the Deva kingdom of beings are working. The beings of the Deva kingdom are working. Just as we have the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the animal kingdom, and the human kingdom, and the better human kingdom in the plane of will, we have the next plane of consciousness called the Deva kingdom. That is those that are working in nature, the intelligences that are working in the various departments of nature, those that are conducting the chemistry of the various minerals, those that give us the heat and cold, those that make the light of the sun's rays, the heat of the sun's rays, the magnetism of the earth, and the magnetism of the various magnets on the earth, the attraction of the earth, and the earth's rotation around itself, and the earth's rotation around the sun, and the germination of the various fruits, germination of the various seeds into the various plants and trees, and the effects of the seasons on this earth, the functions of fertilization, fecundity, and childbirth. These are some of the functions in nature that are being conducted very regularly, and these functions require certain intelligences that are to work outside and inside our body also. For example, when we are breathing in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide, when we do not know what chemistry is, there should be one intelligence inside who allows only oxygen to be taken in and carbon dioxide to be given out. Like that, the blood has its own chemical actions in respiration, and we are expected not to know all the functions of the blood, but the blood is conducting its own functions through respiration. It requires certain intelligences that are continuously working. While we are sleeping, the lungs are respiring and requires certain intelligences in the lungs working. And the heartbeat and the circulation of the blood is working out when we are sleeping. And the digestion and its functions are working while we are sleeping. They require millions and millions of departments and intelligences to work. And the seeds are germinating in the soil. Each seed requires a group of intelligences to germinate. Flowers are getting pollinated, and each flower requires a group of intelligences to get it pollinated. These groups of intelligences that are working within you and outside yourself, they are called the Deva kingdom of existences. And after reaching the plane of will, when you begin to live in the plane of the will, you are invited to cooperate with the Deva intelligences of nature. You will be given the knowledge of how to cooperate with the Deva kingdom and all the sciences that are operating in nature, so that you will know what to do and what not to do, and then you will begin to cooperate with the functions of nature. The how of it we will understand in our next lecture. Thank you. We will continue from where we stopped. We were talking of the fifth plane of consciousness, nirvanic consciousness. It is to be worked out when the human being is in the fourth plane. It is worked out by following certain rules of his own personal living, the sum total of which is to make the personal life impersonal. In this respect, we can understand that anyone living within the first three planes of consciousness will be personal in his consciousness. He is called a personality. Before that, he was only an individuality. Then we say that he is a self. A self means a sum total capsule of the whole existence, which includes the physical body and the life force working in it, and the mind taking every care of the other two planes. The needs and the desires of life force are cared for by the mind. With great fear and care, the mind tries to look after the body and its requirements. That is what is called the individual state of living. The mind knows only the tastes of the senses, which are very powerful, because a preliminary training to the indweller is required to take care of the lower principles. Because what happens when the mind attains the higher states, when the time is premature, it begins to overlook the needs of the body. It begins to think of philosophy and stop drinking and eating or sleeping. So the balance should be maintained to the end. So nature has a wonderful syllabus which we call the evolution of consciousness. The first two steps of the human evolution are very rigid and firm about the two lower principles, because even after the evolution is complete in the seventh plane, the consciousness should not kick off the lower vehicles before it is natural time to drop off. Everything should be natural and nothing should be hastened unnaturally, and for this a basis is given to us in our early stages of human development. Our consciousness is trained to take every care of our body and its appetites, and the strong fear to protect the interests of the body is also there, because fear is the one instinct among those many instincts that we have inherited from the animal stage. Even when we were Primitive animals in our evolution, the instinct of fear was there only to protect the physical mechanism from every danger and also to protect our young ones and our loved ones. That was the instinct of fear, which had its own importance when we were animals in evolution. When once we come into the human kingdom, this fear ceases to be an instinct and it is intellectualized and it is made psychological. For the human being, fear is not at all an instinct to protect himself. It is magnified through the great lens of intellect and it begins to project the interests into the future. So, we have discovered what is called money because we could project our fear into the future. To protect our interests for the future, to be able to purchase our things required, we discovered what we call money. We discovered what we call the daily wages and weekly wages and monthly salaries, and also what we call the pensions and the gratuities, premiums, and also what we call the insurances and assurances. We have discovered everything to make our future very safe and sure. Of course, we can make it sure only to our mind because future is not in the hands of any individual. The whole earth is a planet rolling around itself with great speed, like a grand jet plane, supersonic plane, going around the sun. What we call security is only a false sense of security, without which we cannot live in the early stages of our evolution. So, nature gave an expansion to the instinct of fear, and the result is, for some time in the human evolution, we live like individuals. We like to preserve our individuality. We believe that individuality is very valuable, and after some time there will be an understanding of the other person and the second change takes place. The individuality will break like the shell of an egg and our personality comes out in the form of the well-formed chick. Then we will be able to understand that others are also having the same interests as we have, the same appetites we have, same needs and necessities we need. And once again fear comes to our help. We come to understand that if we are in any way obstructing the interests of the other person, automatically our interests will be obstructed. If we attack the interests of the other person, our interests will be attacked. Like that we will understand and we begin to produce what we call virtues. That is, we will try to be helpful to others so that others may be helpful to us. That is what is called the virtues on the personality plane. That is what we call the commercialization of virtues. We begin with virtues by marketing them. That is what is called a full-fledged personality, fully developed personality. I can live very decently, politely and in an ideal way. I can behave very well with everyone. That does not mean I have developed virtues. My virtue is only a necessity. Because it is necessitated in this society, I begin to behave politely. That is what is called civilization. which is quite different from culture. Culture is a little bit higher than civilization, but first of all, we will know how to get civilized. And in the attempt, all the angularities of our behavior will be gradually